The wrist, a pivotal joint in piano playing, undergoes both concentric and eccentric contractions. As the fingers depress the keys, the wrist extensor muscles essentially control the lowering of the hand, subtly guiding it to maintain a consistent tone. Simultaneously, the wrist flexor muscles, including the flexor carpi radialis and flexor carpi ulnaris, concentrically attract to lift the fingers after each key press. This combination of contractions ensures the pianist's control over articulation and dynamics in the music. Multiple muscles in the palm and fingers, such as the flexor digitorum, superficialis, and profundus, are responsible for flexion and extension of the fingers. They engage in isometric efforts to maintain the precise hand shape required for various passages. Eccentric contractions are employed when the fingers lift off the keys, contributing to fluidity and accuracy. The finger is controlled for specific muscles such as the flexor digitorum, superficialis, and profundus. Concentric contractions in these muscles close the fingers onto the keys, while eccentric contractions are engaged to lift them. Isometric contractions help keep the fingers steady between key presses and ensure precise finger positioning. The elbow serves as a pivot joint for arm movement across the keyboard. Although it may seem static, these muscles around the elbow, like brachialis and triceps brachii, experience isometric contractions to stabilize the arm during piano play. This isometric effort is vital for maintaining the correct position and posture, allowing the pianist to control the weight applied to each.
All right, so we're gonna go over the stretches to help with the muscle fatigue and soreness. So first we're gonna start off with the wrist flexors stretch. And what it does is you are flexing the flexor muscles, which are your flexor carpi radialis ulnaris and your palmaris longus. Do that for 15 to 20 seconds and then switch over to the extensor muscles, which is gonna be your extensor carpi brevis and longus, as well as the ulnaris. Once you're done with that, 15 to 20 seconds, you move on to your finger stretch. This will stretch your finger muscles, which is your flexor digitorum, your superficialis, your profundus. And that should help with the muscle soreness for when you are playing your. Okay, for our post-exercise stretch, obviously, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do the flexor stretch. Again, you are stretching those flexor muscles, 15 to 20 seconds, depending on how sore and fatigued it is. You just wanna make sure it's stretched. We're gonna go to the extensor muscles. Again, 15 to 20 seconds. And lastly, you're gonna do fingers, but this time, you can do individual fingers, right? It's because of all that work your fingers are doing. You want to be able to put a good amount of stretch in those muscles afterwards. And that should help with the muscle fatigue and soreness. Next, we're going to go over the exercises.
So for the first exercise we're going to have you do to start kind of like help PTing your muscles and getting them a little bit stronger so they don't fatigue as fast, is we're gonna have you do wrist curls. And so you're gonna start off in flexion and then move to extension. And you're gonna do that about like 10 to 12 times for about 2 to 3 reps. And right here, on the flexors, you're gonna be working on your flexor carpi radialis, your ulnaris, and your palmaris longus into flexion. And then when you go into extension, you'll be hitting your extensor carpi radialis, your extensor carpi radialis brevis, and your carpi ulnaris. All right, so the next exercise we're gonna have you do is gonna help with your radial and ulnar deviation. And as you start going into adduction or ulnar deviation, you're gonna be using those extensor and flexor carpi ulnaris. And this exercise will help strengthen that. And as you go into abduction, you're going to be using your pollicis longus and your flexor carpi radialis. And I'm going to have you do this exercise up and down about 10 times for like 2 to 3 reps. And this will help strengthen your abduction and adductors as you move up and down the piano. So for the last exercise, what we'll have you do, and if you don't have the money for it, it's fine. We're gonna have you use one of these. And that's what we're gonna pretend that you have. If you don't have one of those, you can also just use a rubber band and work each finger individually in combination. But what we're trying to exercise right now is the interosseous, the dorsal interosseous muscles and the palmar interosseae. And so as he goes into adduction, he's going to start working on the dorsal interosseae, and then as he goes into adduction, he'll be working on his palmar interosseae. And this will help with just finger movement as he's going in and out constantly, trying to reach for different keys on different octaves.